Matthias's childhood was filled with laughter and warmth, courtesy of his loving mother. She was his world, and he was hers. They lived in a cozy little house on the outskirts of town, surrounded by lush green trees and vibrant flowers. On his 10th birthday, Matthias woke up to the sound of his mother's gentle humming as she prepared his favorite breakfast, pancakes with strawberries. He jumped out of bed, excitement radiating from every pore. "Happy birthday, sweetie," his mother exclaimed, enveloping him in a tight hug. The day was filled with games, gifts, and endless smiles. But little did Matthias know, fate had other plans. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over their joyful celebration, Matthias's mother wasn't feeling okay. She collapsed, and Matthias's world shattered. "Mom!" he screamed, trembling as he held his mom's hand and started crying. They rush her to the Tima Teaching Hospital located in Accra. The frantic doctors, and the eerie silence that followed are etched in Matthias's memory forever. His mother was gone. The days that followed were a blur. Matthias struggled to comprehend the loss. Why did she have to leave? Why did death take her from him? As the will was read, Matthias discovered he had inherited his mother's vast properties, businesses, and wealth. But none of it mattered without her. Wise, his best friend since kindergarten, became his rock. Wise's family took Matthias in, providing a sense of stability and love. As Matthias navigated his new reality, Wise remained by his side, reminding him of the happy times with his mother. "You're strong, Matthias. Your mom would want you to be happy." But the ache in Matthias's heart lingered, a constant reminder of what death took from him. As time passed, Wise's parents, who had taken Matthias in, began to change. They grew increasingly resentful of the wealth and properties Matthias's mother had left him. "Your mom spoiled you. You don't deserve all this," they would say, their voices laced with bitterness. Wise would defend Matthias, but his parents' animosity only intensified. They started withholding food and basic necessities from Matthias, making him feel like a burden. One evening, as Matthias sat alone in his room, stomach growling, Wise slipped in with a plate of steaming hot food. "Hey, don't mind my parents, they're just jealous. You deserve everything you have," Wise whispered. Matthias's eyes welled up with gratitude. "Thanks, Wise. I don't know what I'd do without you." Wise smiled. "You'll never have to find out." Despite Wise's parents' growing hostility, Wise continued to support Matthias. He'd sneak him food, books, and even helped with his homework. Matthias began to realize that true family wasn't just about blood ties, it was about those who stood by you through thick and thin. One day, Wise's parents confronted Matthias, demanding he leave their house. "You're corrupting our son," they shouted, "you're turning him against us." Matthias, though hurt, stood firm. "I've done nothing but be a friend to Wise." Wise stepped forward, his voice trembling. "Matthias is my brother, no matter what. I won't abandon him." Tears streamed down Matthias's face as Wise's parents disowned Wise for standing up for him. Years passed, and Matthias and Wise became inseparable business partners, leveraging the properties to build a vast empire. They became two of the youngest billionaires in Ghana and West Africa. Their success drew envy, particularly from Wise's parents, who had long regretted disowning their son. "We should have been part of that wealth," they'd lament. Their bitterness consumed them, and they hatched a sinister plan. They hired an assassin to plant a bomb in Matthias's car. On the fateful day, Matthias had a change of plans and decided to stay in. Wise, eager to check on their ongoing project, offered to drive instead. As soon as Wise started the car, it exploded, taking his life. News of Wise's death shattered Matthias. He was numb, unable to process the loss of his best friend and brother. Wise's parents were initially jubilant, thinking Matthias would soon follow. But when they learned it was Wise who died, their world crumbled. Overwhelmed by guilt and regret, they surrendered to the police, confessing their role in the heinous plot. Matthias, meanwhile, struggled to cope with the loss of his rock, his confidant, and his partner. The pain of losing Wise, coupled with the memories of his mother's passing, left him reclusive and withdrawn. He stopped attending business meetings, stopped taking calls, and stopped living. One day, while sorting through Wise's belongings, Matthias found a letter Wise had written years ago. Dear Matthias, if I'm gone before you, please don't stop living. Keep pushing forward. Our legacy will live on. Your brother, Wise. Tears streamed down Matthias's face as he folded the letter, a newfound determination burning within him. Matthias's eyes dried as he gazed out the window, Wise's words echoing in his mind. He knew what he had to do. But despite Wise's letter, Matthias couldn't bring himself to move on. Grief consumed him, and he became reclusive. His business empire crumbled, and his wealth dwindled. He lost touch with reality, unable to face the world without Wise. Matthias's once luxurious mansion was now a shadow of its former self, filled with dust and memories. He spent his days staring at Wise's photos, reliving their moments together. As the years passed, Matthias's health declined. He struggled to make ends meet, selling his possessions to survive. One day, as he wandered the empty halls of his mansion, he stumbled upon Wise's favorite book. Tears streamed down his face as he clutched the book, overwhelmed by memories. Matthias collapsed, his fragile body surrendering to the weight of his sorrow. In his final moments, he whispered, Wise, my brother, I'm coming to join you. Matthias's eyes closed, and his chest stopped moving. The once vibrant entrepreneur, philanthropist, and loving friend had succumbed to grief. But Matthias, thinking he was already gone, slowly regained consciousness. He was met with the concerned face of his business partner, Favor. He was disoriented and groggy, but Favor's gentle smile and soft voice reassured him. Matthias, you're awake. Thank God. Favor exclaimed, her eyes brimming with tears. Matthias tried to sit up, but a sharp pain shot through his head, forcing him back onto the hospital bed. Take it easy, Matthias, Favor advised, holding him down. You've been through a lot. You collapsed at home, and I found you. I brought you here to the hospital. Matthias's memories began to flood back. His mother's passing, the weight of responsibility, the pressure to keep his business afloat. He felt a lump form in his throat. Favor noticed the anguish in his eyes and took his hand. Matthias, I'm here for you. Not just as your business partner but as a friend. You're not alone. As Matthias recovered, Favor was by his side every step of the way. She helped him with his physical therapy, cooked nutritious meals, and even took care of his business obligations. One day, as Matthias was regaining his strength, Favor sat beside him, her eyes locked onto his. Matthias, I need to ask you something, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. If you were to leave this world, just like your mom did, how do you think she would feel? Would she be proud of the life you lived? Matthias looked away, the question hitting too close to home. And what about Wise? Favor continued. Your best friend, who's always been there for you. How would he feel if you gave up? Matthias's eyes welled up with tears. Favor's words struck a chord deep within him. You're right, Favor, Matthias said, determination etched on his face. I need to stand up, not just for myself but for those who care about me. My mom, Wise, they'd want me to keep going, to make them proud. Favor smiled, her eyes shining with tears. That's the Matthias I know. Let's do this together. With Favor's unwavering support, Matthias slowly rebuilt his strength, both physically and emotionally. He threw himself into his work, driven by a newfound purpose. As the days turned into weeks, Matthias's business began to flourish once more. But more importantly, he found a new appreciation for life and the people who truly mattered. And Favor, well, she remained by his side, a constant reminder of the power of friendship and love. With renewed purpose, Matthias immersed himself in their business, expanding their empire and creating a foundation in Wise's name to support underprivileged children. As the years passed, Matthias became a respected philanthropist and entrepreneur, inspiring others with his resilience. For the first time since Wise's passing, Matthias felt a spark of happiness. Together, they continued Wise's legacy, building schools, hospitals, for communities. Matthias finally found solace, knowing Wise's memory lived on through the positive impact they created. Years later, Matthias and Favor stood before a majestic structure, the Wise Memorial Center, dedicated to empowering youth. Matthias's voice trembled as he addressed the crowd. Today, we honor Wise's memory. His friendship, love, and sacrifice will never be forgotten. As the audience applauded, Matthias glanced up, whispering, "Thank you, Wise. Your brother is living again." As time passed, Matthias and Favor's love continued to grow. They became inseparable, and their partnership extended beyond business to a beautiful life together. Matthias proposed to Favor on a sunset beach walk, and she said yes. Matthias and Favor's love continued to flourish, and they decided to tie the knot. Their wedding was a grand celebration, with friends, family, and colleagues in attendance. As they exchanged vows, Matthias's eyes shone with happiness, and Favor's smile radiated joy. 2 years later, they welcomed twins, a boy and a girl. Favor suggested naming them after Matthias's mom, Emanuela, and his best friend, Wise. Matthias was overwhelmed with emotion. "Wise Jr. and Emanuela," Matthias whispered, his eyes shining with tears. Their children brought immense joy to their lives. Matthias finally found happiness after years of sorrow. The Kids Foundation, Wise Foundation, and the hospitals and schools, Emma's Care, became beacons of hope in their community. Years later, as Matthias and Sophia sat on their porch, holding hands, watching their children play, Matthias turned to Favor. "Thank you for bringing light back into my life," Matthias said. Favor smiled. "You did the same for me." And as the sun dipped below the horizon, they shared a tender hug, surrounded by the love they'd built together. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Said by Nelson Mandela. Matthias's story is a testament to resilience, love, and the power of human connection. May we all find strength in our darkest moments and rise to build a brighter tomorrow.